Hello, I'm Dr. Ryan Johnson, and this is Grace College's Introduction to Statistics class. We're going to cover section 3.3 today, which is about theory-based inference for population mean. So you should have already done the reading. In this case, the reading dealt a lot with the idea of the standard deviation divided by square root of n. There's quite a bit about the variation, the mean, and what we're doing is, like, when we have a sample and we try to make truth claims about the broader population. That's called inference. And review of null and alternative hypotheses. And then we're introduced to this new concept called the standardized statistic, which is going to be your statistic minus the hypothesized, so the number from the null hypothesis, and then divided by standard deviation of the statistic, which will be the standard deviation of your sample divided by square root of n. And so that's an important formula from this section. And we learn in the reading about the t-distribution, which is a good distribution to know when you have a smaller sample size for when you have quantitative data. Okay, so t-statistic, t-distribution, you read about that. All right, so now let's get started into the worksheet. So in the worksheet, we have our question. So step one is our research question. So thinking about students and getting enough sleep. So if we're asking, like, let's make some questions. So is the average less than the recommended 8 hours? So is the average college student sleeping less than the recommended 8 hours? So based on these questions, what is the population of interest? What is the parameter? What symbol do we use for the parameter? That's all review. So hopefully you're able to get that, or you can review the previous sections. Okay, for number 2, express the null and alternative hypothesis for investigating this question. So go ahead and do that. That's also kind of review from last section. Ideally, number 3, ideally, how should you obtain a sample from the population of all students at your school? So this one gives some detail. So give some detail of how you would get a random sample. What variable would you measure on each student? So that's another question. It's kind of getting at it's kind of a review of our sampling methods, what we've covered in the previous chapter. Now, number 5, identify at least one reason that your class is likely a good representation of all students at your school in terms of hours slept last night. So this is just this question and the next question are very much how statistics is a wisdom course that uses math. It's not truly a math course. And so these are questions that get at the heart of statistics, even though they don't have much to do with math. So number 5 is identify a reason why our class is a good representation. And number 6, identify a reason why it's not a good representation. Okay? Because it's a little bit of both, probably. So number 7, recall the convenience sample, maybe, and then choose biased or unbiased. You guys, that's just a review from 2 sections ago. Okay, now number 8, how much sleep to the nearest quarter hour did you get last night? So this is the question that should have been a discussion question, one of the first things you did for this section. And so hopefully your class has answered, and you can combine an answer with your classmates. That's going to be crucial for moving on from here on out. So did you report a number of hours or a number of minutes slept? So that's going to be an important question, because the key idea is when you're collecting data, it has to all be in the same measurement unit. If you have different measurement units, things are going to be off. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and we'll move on to we'll do step 3 in the next video.